Hello, my name is Francisco Stork, and I'm the author of such novels as Marcelo in the Real World, The Memory of Light, Disappeared, Illegal, I Am Not Alone, and to be published in the fall, One Last Chance to Live. Nico Cardos is a high school senior living in the Hunts Point section of the Bronx. He wants to be a great writer. One night, he has a dream about Rosario, the love of his life, who died of a drug overdose the year before. In the dream, Rosario beckons him to follow her. Unsettled by the dream, Nico sets out to unravel the last days of Rosario's life. What went wrong? She had so many things going for her. She wanted to be a writer just like him. But Nico's own life is falling apart. His mother is sick, and his younger brother is in trouble with the gangs. And Nico must decide whether to care for his family or to give up on life, like Rosario. I'm going to read to you from the second chapter of the book, which deals with the night that he has the dream. I want to quickly write down the dream that just happened. I was in a closed casket inside the dark, perfumy parlor in Ortiz's funeral home. And then I was floating on the ceiling watching the scene. I was surprised and disappointed that the small room was not even half full. I'd been to funerals for dead kids where the crowd spilled over into the street. In the front row sat Alma and her mother, together with Noah. Behind them was my father, sitting uncomfortably next to Harrison, my mother's boyfriend. Mr. Cortázar was there next to the school librarian, Mrs. Longoria, and next to them sat Ruth from school, wearing a silky black dress and a necklace of tiny white pearls with matching earrings. The rest of the rows were sparsely occupied, with kids from school and people from the fish market. The casket was the same one Mr. Ortiz used for Rosario, the same casket he uses when the bodies are destined to be incinerated. Who can afford to be buried? No one I know, and none of the families of the dozen kids who've used the casket. Sometimes the casket is open, like for Rosario's funeral, and sometimes it's closed, like when a gang member is shot in the face. In front of the casket was a red velvet kneeler, and next to that, a blown up image of my yearbook picture. I hated that picture. It was taken the day after my wisdom teeth were pulled out, and I looked like I'm chewing a huge wad of gum. I searched to see if anyone was crying, but everyone seemed calm and even a little bored. The only evidence of grief I could find was Alma blowing her nose, Noah's red eyes, and Ruth's lower head. Then I noticed for the first time two empty chairs to the right of the casket. In the funerals I've attended, empty chairs were placed for the parents of, or siblings of the deceased that have previously departed from this world. Filled with sudden terror, I began looking for my mother and Javier. They weren't there. The two chairs were for them. Then things got dark, and I realized I was inside the coffin. I was unbearably sad because of the two empty chairs on the front row meant that my mother and Javier had already died. And that's when I felt someone lying next to me in the coffin. I smelled coconut shampoo and knew immediately it was Rosario. She was there to console me for the loss of my mother and Javier, for my own death, for hers. I wanted to embrace her, but I couldn't turn. The coffin was too tight for two bodies. Rosario rose above me. Her whole being was made of a rose colored light that was now dimming. She moved her hand in such a way that I could not tell whether she was asking me to follow her or waving goodbye. Then, just before she disappeared, she said something to me that I understood in the dream, but I could not remember when I woke up. What, Rosario? What did you say to me? I want to thank you for all the help and support that you have given my novels throughout the years, and I hope that you pick up this book as well. Thank you very much.